Imagine this. You park your car, maybe just a little illegally, and come back to find your windshield covered by a bright, yellow, high-tech device, stuck with hundreds of pounds of force. This isn't just a boot on your wheel, it's a giant electronic suction cup blocking your entire view. If you attempt to remove the barnacle, an alarm will blare loudly, alerting both you and any nearby police officers to your actions. Once you've paid the fine, you'll be given a code to enter into a keypad on the barnacle, which will then release itself from the windshield. There have been reports of drivers being clamped multiple times in quick succession, and some have complained that they were never given the opportunity to pay their fine and instead had to call the police. For example, San Francisco requires that drivers receive 3 warnings before having a barnacle placed on their car, while Seattle limits the number of hours that they can be clamped to 72 hours. Despite these efforts, some drivers are still angry about the Barnacle S implementation and claim that it is unfair because they weren't notified properly or given enough time to pay their fine. Whether it's a physical device like the Barnacle or a digital one like a GPS monitor, cities are determined to find new ways to ensure that drivers pay their fines and don't park illegally. In an email sent out on January 16, 2020, OU Transportation Services Director Mike Wormsby wrote, "We want to thank you for your feedback and suggestions regarding the Barnacle and alternative strategy. Ease for improving parking compliance. We will take this into consideration as we continue to review our options by working together. The students at OU showed that even the most advanced technology can be defeated and that corporations would always be held accountable for their actions. And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any more videos. See you soon. Bye." Although the university didn't explicitly mention why they were abandoning the Barnacle, it's clear that the backlash from students played a major role in their decision. By exploiting vulnerabilities in the device, students proved that it wasn't as foolproof as the administration had hoped and ultimately forced them to reconsider their use of the technology. In response to this criticism, Bend officials stated that the Barnacle is only used as a last resort for drivers who repeatedly park illegally and have ignored warnings. In 2018, for example, they launched a petition calling for better mental health services after several high-profile suicides on campus, and in 2019, they organized a walkout to protest the school's response to sexual assault allegations. In each case, students used their collective voice to bring about positive change despite opposition from administrators. The same can be said for their efforts against the Barnacle. Not only did they manage to defeat it within 2 days, but they also raised awareness about potential issues with the technology and forced you to listen. After this, URA instructed to either return the device to the enforcement office or use a ride-sharing service such as Uber or Lyft to bring it back. The company behind the product says that it is merely a tool to help collect parking fines and doesn't actually increase revenue for the city. However, critics argue that the Barnacle is more of a money-making scheme than anything else, since each device costs approximately $2,000 and generates hundreds of dollars in fees every month. Sounds impossible to defeat, right? Well, the University of Oklahoma thought so too when they introduced this new device called the Barnacle. But what happened next will make you cheer. Students managed to defeat it in just 2 days, using nothing but their wits and some incredibly clever hacks. When temperatures drop below freezing, water can seep into the device and freeze, making it impossible to detach from the windshield. For example, Boston recently began testing a GPS ankle monitor that allows drivers to pay their fines remotely, but still prevents them from leaving the city until they do so. Meanwhile, Miami Beach has introduced an app that sends push notifications and text messages reminding drivers that they have an outstanding fine and must pay it before the Barnacle is deployed. As a result, some drivers have been left stranded in their cars waiting for the ice to thaw so that they can free themselves from the Barnacle. OU sent out an email to all students notifying them of the new policy change. It read, "Starting Tuesday, January 21, 2020, parking enforcement will begin utilizing the Barnacle on all vehicles parked in violation of posted parking regulations on campus. The Barnacle is a 20-pound plastic device that attaches to the windshield of your car using 750 pounds of suction force, which is enough to hold up to for full-grown adults. It is touted as being highly effective at catching drivers who haven't paid their fines because once it is attached to the windshield, it cannot be seen through. Drivers have tried various methods to remove the Barnacle, such as using bolt cutters, hammers, and screwdrivers, but to no avail. Even when the Barnacle has been smashed or cut, it still cannot be removed and must be brought to a designated drop-off point. Once attached, the device completely blocks your view, making it impossible to see outside the vehicle. So drivers who try to move the car are forced to stop, sit there until they've either removed the Barnacle or called the police. The idea behind the Barnacle is that it will deter people from parking illegally because the driver will be unable to leave the area until they pay the fine. The Barnacle has been in development since 2014 and was first used in 2016 in the city of Bend, Oregon. But not everyone has been happy with the use of the Barnacle. Despite the controversy surrounding it, the Barnacle has been rolled out in several cities including Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Raleigh, North Carolina. In light of the backlash, many cities have implemented measures to prevent abuse of the system. On top of this, the Barnacle has also been criticized for being difficult to remove, especially in cold weather. Despite these issues, cities continue to experiment with new ways to use the Barnacle and similar technologies to enforce parking regulations. These efforts have met with mixed results, but one thing is clear: clamping is here to stay and will continue to evolve as technology advances. As for the University of Oklahoma, they quickly backed down after learning of the exploits that students had discovered with the Barnacle. This isn't the first time that OU students have taken it upon themselves to solve problems on campus. So, what does this all tell us? That when faced with seemingly insurmountable odds, it helps to have both technological know-how and an unyielding spirit of community. But what do you think? How might this Barnacle be defeated? Have you seen this in your own city? Share your thoughts below.